And we are back. Appreciate y'all tapping in with us on this lovely Wednesday edition of the Doin Alright. Man, we got some film for y'all. Well, not some film. I lied. We watched the film.
We watched the film.
It's early in the morning. I watched the film. And we got some players for y'all, some player profiles for y'all. We're going to break down 4 characters there. We're going to experiment with whether we break down 3 or 4 on Wednesday. We're going to get a feel for the timing and all that. But we got 4 today, Brian.
Yep.
We're going to start off with, we're going to jump right into it. Christen Miller, defensive tackle from Georgia. Now, Brian, this is the first time me saying this on Crown. We have to be careful when we make some of these player evaluations. And I think one thing that we have to account for, and this is the first kind of roadblock that I've run into with this one, is you have to account for how the college is using a player versus how they're going to be used in the league. You see what I'm saying? So you may look at a player play a certain kind of way in college, and you may have to add points or take points away per if you feel like they're playing in position, out of position, whatever. So Christen Miller, defensive tackle from Georgia, Bryan Broaddus, the first thing that I could say about him is that he lines up kind of all over the place, but they really squeeze him in that A-gap, Brian. They really put him in A-gap. They'll line him up, head up over the center. And sometimes what colleges will do is they'll take who they think is their best guy and just line them up at 0. A great example of this a couple years ago, Greg Rousseau, Brian, when he was with Miami, he was like 270-something pounds tall as hell, but they'll play him at 0.
Right.
And he'll beat the hell out the 0, but you'll go, man, in the league, you're probably not going to be doing that. Christen Miller is a guy, 305 pounds, Brian, moves really well. We got another good moving tackle. High effort, high motor. They use a bunch of slants with him, gap exchanges with him, but they slant him from 0. You know what I'm saying? I think he'll be a B-gap player, 3-tech type dude, because he's 305-ish, 306-ish, and he's an upfield bursty guy. I don't think he has a bunch of 2-gapping in his future, Brian, but he does have powerful hands, active hands, quick swiping club, and all this kind of stuff. And I think like his job on the league level is going to be like pass rushy type of upfield bursty tackle.
Right.
On his film, you may not see all that because he's at 0. So sometimes what'll happen is he'll get caught up in them doubles and you'll see him kind of get moved to the side. You know what I'm saying? He's a strong character and he does know how to play with decent leverage to where he's not getting whooped off the line of scrimmage, Brian. But I think he'll be so much better in one-on-one blocks in B-gap as opposed to getting double team, stuff like that, Brian. But pass rush moves, high effort, finisher, all this kind of stuff. Didn't get a feel for how many sacks he got because I didn't really like look up his numbers or anything like that. But he got a ton of pressure on quarterbacks, and when quarterbacks flush out, he's the type of dude that'll chase those guys down and sometimes catch them. He might be one of the more active, athletic guys that we have playing in a B-gap, Brian. I got a 2 on him. I got him after McDonald and Woods, but Christen Miller, put him at 3-tech, Brian. Let him fly. I think he'll be just fine right there, Brian.
When you watch these players and like you watch a Christen Miller play, but you were mentioning about scheme.
Yes, sir.
When you see those guys that are like 2-gap players, you know, when you and you're like, well, this guy doesn't look quick enough.
Sure.
It's like his guy's not getting off the ball. Yeah. But you see a guy that's like extending and kind of. It's a little bit with the Georgia guys, though. We were dealing with that with the Michigan guys, Georgia guys playing the way they play their schemes and stuff like that.
Yeah,
please. I kind of felt like though with this guy, you could watch him play where he was almost like he was reading the blocker as like a 5 technique. And when we talk about the 5 technique, it's that head up guy, that head up on the tackle. And then you extend and you look inside, look outside. I kind of felt like there was some things with Christen Miller that's what he was doing. And so, you know, you got to be careful when you watch these guys. You say, well, he's not quick off the ball.
Yeah.
Well, it might be he's playing a two-gap technique where he's taught to read inside.
Punch and read and look around.
Exactly. So you're like, well, he's not coming off the ball. So I think that Christen Miller kind of falls into this mode. I think there's times where he's got really good upper body strength. I think he could be really good with the hands. We're talking about the 2-gap technique stuff. There was a snap I was watching him against Georgia Tech where he's playing almost as an edge. So he's out. He's not playing a tackle. He's playing like on the outside. And he just two-hand punches this tackle in the chest. Sure. And the guy gets driven back, and now he's going off to make a play. So I think there's a good power there. I think the pad level, the base. I think go back. I mentioned the Alabama game. Simpson, the quarterback, he's trying to get outside, and what does Miller do? Miller keeps him inside the pocket. You see Simpson trying to kind of float, and Miller's
he can run.
Miller's up, and Miller's kind of pushing him back, not letting him get outside on the edge. Sure. So I've seen him crossface, make plays in opposite gaps. This guy can win as a rusher, and I think you're right. He's going to win with power, is what he's going to do. But I kind of like the way that he does have the flexibility up and down the line. And usually I hate this. If you tell me you have position flex, sure, I'm usually thinking you're not good at anything.
Right.
But this guy actually at 6'4", 310, that's the measurables we have for him right now. He's a little bit different than some of these defensive tackles we've seen here, with the 330, 325 range and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But I would like to see this guy, like I said, if he's going to two-gap, I wonder if he's going to be that upfield kind of player. I think he can be. I think he can be. I think that you just have to know if you're watching Christen Miller play and you immediately say, he doesn't look quick off the ball, Broaddus. Voch, he doesn't look quick off the ball. Think about the technique that he's playing. Yeah. It happened with some of these Michigan kids. I know everybody who's a Dallas Cowboys fan is like, no, we had that already. We all those two-gap guys, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. Depending on what the scheme is, you're going to have to be able to evaluate these guys. I think Christen Miller's a pretty damn good football player. I give him the second round as well.
I think there's no way he goes to the league and he two gaps the whole time.
No.
I think there's no way. And even if he's not showing you the best ball get off all the time, you can see how he moves around.
Right.
And you can context clues it and go, I bet he gets off the ball if somebody tells him to get off the football.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? This ain't like a Mozzie situation to where I never really saw Mozzie get off the football on top of the Michigan scheme tells him not to. Right. You see Christen Miller run all over the place. Well, he's flying.
Remember last year, though, when we were looking at the Michigan
Chris
Jenkins.
All
those guys, there was more up the field.
Yep.
There was more up the field with the rush. And that's because you talk about that they were in a completely different scheme.
Yep.
Wink Martindale is get up the field
and go.
Yeah. I'm sure there's some teams. Jesse Minter, if he's still there at the Chargers, comes to that Michigan scheme and all that. This might be the type of guy that if you're all of a sudden you're seeing a little bit some two-gap play that might like a guy like this.
Brian, tell us about the offensive tackle from Iowa. I'm interested to know what you say about this guy. Jennings Dunker, offensive tackle, Iowa.
Yeah, Jennings Dunker from Iowa. This is a starting right tackle for the Hawkeyes. 6'5", 315 are the measurables we're working with right now. I think he plays I see him play with a great deal of his snaps with his hand on the ground. A lot of these college tackles nowadays, they all play two-point stance is what they do. So this is a big, thick body guy. I think he's got limited moving skills. I don't think the movement with him is really great. There might be some considerations. Usually if you're kind of a guy that doesn't have that kind of athletic ability, they'll put you inside at guard. But nowadays, you got to be somewhat athletic to play at guard.
Oh, yeah.
You can't just say, slow-footed guy, stick him inside and hope for the best. But there's a lot of power in the way that this guy plays with the punch to get movement. I mean, he likes to try and bully the defender instead of coming off the ball as an athlete. I mean, he tries to beat you up. I thought he was a little bit of a step late in the way he engaged with his man. I thought he was a little bit rigid. I thought he was a little lumbering in the way he moves. I didn't see him on the ground. You know me, I hate players that are on the ground. But his base gets a little wide, And that keeps him from having a lot of, I think, the movement skills. I think with such a wide base, he's not able to adjust as he's going along. He's got that, with a little bit narrow base, he's able to maybe plant, go, move, and do those things. But I see with the wide base, there's snaps also too where he loses contact with his man due to the lack of footwork and I think the lack of quickness. The more his man moves, I think the bigger issue he has to deal with it. He doesn't appear to be bendy or a flexible player. He has played guard in his Iowa career. I felt like he was a much better run blocker than pass blocker at this point in his development. Respect the way he tries to finish blocks, but he's kind of, Iowa has a great history of putting linemen into the league. But this guy right here, I think the lack of athletic ability bothers me at the tackle spot.
Yeah, Brian, you ain't wrong. Big, strong, nasty, whoops feet as a run blocker. They asked him to pull a bunch.
Why?
I don't know why they be asking him to pull, but he does his job. You pull, he go hit somebody, but they asked him to do it a whole bunch.
Yeah.
Like, man, why is he pulling so much? Anyway, limited range and length as a pass blocker.
There you go.
And I think that's
well said.
I think that's what's going to get him. He just doesn't have the range to get to some of these spots, to get to some of these landmarks, especially when like the edge that he plays against is one of those types of guys.
Right.
Luckily for him, playing in Iowa, he hadn't played a whole bunch of bursty like dudes like that. But man, when you get to the league and they all got that in them, you got to be able to have a little bit of range. I don't think he got that range, Brian. And sometimes when you don't have range, but you have length, it kind of works out in your favor. We're going to talk about Caden Proctor at some point. Proctor ain't got a whole bunch of range.
Not a lot.
But he got length.
Yes.
So that kind of saves him a little bit.
Yeah.
Dunker has neither. So the last line on my notes on Dunker is, if it all goes bad, put him at guard.
See, but we're in a time. I think one of the reasons, and correct me if I'm wrong, one of the reasons why you liked Booker so much is because of the things you talked about. There's the length, there is the power. I kind of feel like that maybe if you had to play Booker at tackle in an emergency, I think he'd be okay.
Sure.
I think he would be okay. So, yeah, but immediately talk about kicking these guys inside. You have to be, nowadays, you have to be an athlete to play inside a little bit.
This thing about Booker. Booker ain't fast.
Yeah.
But he has some lateral quickness.
Right.
So how Booker would deal with being on the edge is he'll pass block like he's run blocking.
Right.
Like he won't get to his landmark. He'll just turn and
ram, yeah.
Big Tyler does that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's what he was doing in the last 2-3 games he was playing.
And he has incredible feet.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So just imagine Jennings Dunker, who doesn't have the feet of, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think it'll definitely be an issue for him. I think more than likely he'll be. I got him at tackle.
Yeah, I do too.
He played most of his reps at tackle. Yeah. He did just fine at tackle.
Yeah.
But if it all goes wrong, I'm gonna have that in a lot of reports, Brian. Yeah. If it all goes wrong, put him at guard, man.
I have him in the 3rd round myself.
In threes? Cool. Yeah. I got a 2 on him. I got him after Proctor.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep watching guys. I'm gonna keep, and he might end up down in 3. But he's a Senior Bowl guy.
He is a Senior Bowl guy.
So we'll
get to see him firsthand.
They might even line him up at guard, son, Brian.
There you go.
Let's talk a little bit about it. I want to challenge our thoughts on some things, Brian.
I don't like when you say this that way, but I'll go for it.
Anthony Hill Jr.
Okay.
I can't stand when people on Twitter in December hit us up like, Voch, what you think about Anthony Hill? I don't know. It's December. I don't know what I think about Anthony Hill. When I get to him, I'll let you know. You know what I'm saying? This is me letting everybody know where I'm at about Anthony Hill Jr.
Yeah.
A lot of times people swing and miss because we have
you're right. People are asking about this guy.
We have a lot of Texas fans. You know,
we do have a lot of Texas fans.
So
book 'em.
So when we should be talking about the first overall pick, they're asking, "Hey, what about Anthony?"
One of the biggest Texas fans is a fan of yours. That young Bennett Broaddus.
Shouts out to Bennett Broaddus.
Bennett, he's a big fan of yours.
Shouts out to Bennett Broaddus, man. Anthony Hill can play though.
Yeah,
Anthony Hill can play. Anthony Hill can play. I'm going to say something challenging to you, and I'm going to tell you how my board ended up.
Uh-huh.
But
you
Brian,
put him in the first round?
No, I ain't put him in the first.
Okay.
I ain't put him in the first.
You thought he was better than C.J. Allen from Georgia?
So, Brian, this is what I think about Anthony Hill Jr., right? First of all, the size kind of jumps off at me.
Yeah.
He got some size and he got some length, Brian.
6'3", 238 is what he's listed at.
Look good. You watch him run around a little bit, Brian. He got some athleticism, don't he?
Sure does.
That kid got some athleticism on it, Brian. He be flying. I don't think everybody's a sideline to sideline guy. I'm gonna start stopping people when they start saying,
immediately.
Oh, he's a sideline. Some people not.
By the way, did you hear Sean Payton yesterday? Reporters asked about Greenlaw coming back for the Broncos. Mm-hmm. And the guy said, "Are you looking forward to having Greenlaw playing downhill?" Mm-hmm. And Sean goes, "What do you know about downhill linebackers?" The guy goes, "Nothing." He goes, "Absolutely." So, yeah, go ahead. You're going to stop people from talking about the sideline to sideline.
And Hill, one of them downhill guys,
He's
too.
a downhill guy.
Right. It's the problem. It's the problem. Anthony Hill.
I knew you were going to get to this
Anthony Hill is sideline to sideline.
And downhill.
That's something he get downhill.
He gets downhill.
He thump shit.
Yeah.
Remember I taught you that one, right?
You taught me thump shit. Yeah.
Thump shit and smack shit.
Yeah.
Brian, he's thumping down there, Brian.
Yeah.
He's thumping down. Yeah. Very aggressive. I think he sees it really well in the run game.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna talk about a linebacker from Alabama next week. He damn Kenny Murray made me sick. Yeah. But Anthony Hill sees it, Brian.
Yeah.
Anthony Hill sees it and he gets there and he's comfortable dealing with them linemen down there, Brian.
Yeah.
He's comfortable dealing with those guys. I think he's going to have some issues in coverage, but most of these guys have issues in coverage. So I ain't going to really knock him too much for that. But I think he has the athleticism and the length that'll help him make up for it to where even if he's not in the right place, hey, man, get your arms up and run over there and you'll be fine. Right? But, Brian, I think there's some value using him as a pass rusher as well, Brian. Mm-hmm. Letting this dude get downhill, thump, rush a little bit. And look, I see some pass rush shit on him, Brian. I see some moves and some dip around and some hands from him, Brian. Man, I'm going to let you give your report on him. And then I'm going to ask you a very interesting question about Anthony Hill Jr., Brian. Why don't you just break him down for me? What you got on your notes?
Yeah, I like what you're saying about the player because I think there's absolutely some quality play. I think we're in that. I think we're in a mode right now, Voch, where we're starting to learn about these linebackers, whether it's C.J. Allen at Georgia or it's Anthony Hill playing at Texas. I think I know that in the coming days we're going to take a look at Trotter from Missouri. I think there's some thumpy inside linebackers,
very physical,
that might not be great cover guys, but playing the run, being physical, having to do what they have to do, just kind of tone setters.
Yeah,
I kind of feel like this.
Break them down, but don't tell me where you got them. Just break them down. Yeah.
I think there's exceptional lateral quickness for this guy. Man. I think he can cover some ground in a hurry. I think he's one of those guys that shows a great deal of speed for the position. The instincts, the ability to diagnose is a real plus. He does a good job of beating blockers to the spot. When those blockers come out second level, step ahead, right there, not getting blocked, not getting holed up, not like what we saw a little bit with Kenneth Murray this year, kind of like getting lost on the block. This guy has the ability to kind of play a step ahead. I love the way he gets the ball. He has a feel for how to attack the pocket as a blitzer. You mentioned that as well. He could get around the corner. He could power through the middle. He does a good job, like I say, as a blitzer. He's able to process information quickly for the position. He's not out of position. He's not taking false steps for the position. Here we go, downhill player. A little bit of a spot drop linebacker. When we talk about that, it's like the scheme will require him just to kind of go to a spot and sit and kind of wait and see what happens there. I don't think that's really something that, not to say he can't cover because he's got the speed, but you see him playing a lot of spot drop. I think he could be better if he's asked to do more, just because of the athletic ability. There's snaps where you will see him overrun plays because he is so aggressive. He can be a touch aggressive in this regard. He's a sure tackler. He plays with some upper body power, some strength of the position. He does a good job playing with his hands. This guy was a 5-star recruit coming out of Denton, Texas. And he is one of those guys when you watch him play. Sometimes there's these 4 or 5-star recruits that you can, they don't play to that level. I think this kid plays to that level. I like this kid a lot as a linebacker.
Brian, why do people have C.J. Allen ranked over him?
That's a good question. I think to me, I think the thing that like I told you earlier, we're starting to figure this out. We're starting to figure out the Hills, the Allens, I mentioned Trotter. I think Rodriguez from Texas Tech is probably going to be in these linebackers that are that way. They're going to. I would say, and I can understand why people are asking about him, because I bet you there's people that believe that he's better than Allen, and there's some tradey things that he does that is better than Allen, and I don't think he nor Allen, you want to have him play coverage. I don't. I think that if you had to pick one to develop to be a better cover guy, I think Anthony Hill would be that guy. So to me, I've got Allen and Hill right there in the second round.
Yeah.
And I feel like that, to your question, when you really sit down and say, okay, go back, Bryan, and pull out the legal pad, write down Allen, write down Hill, and just start checking things off. Yep. You're probably going to check more things off for Anthony Hill than you are for C.J. Allen.
I got Hill ranked over Allen, bro. I got Hill ranked over Allen.
Not surprising.
If I look at what they do, they're both downhill, thumpy, good diagnosing run guys.
Yeah.
But I mentioned this when I broke down Allen before I even saw Hill. I was concerned about Allen's movement and athletic ability.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? I ain't saying he's slow. He could beat me in a foot race, Bryan.
Yeah.
But I've seen how some of these running backs match up on these linebackers in the league.
Yeah.
And I see how like when we got to play like Jahmyr Gibbs or something, those things matter, Bryan. Yeah. And I think C.J. Allen is a hell of a football player, but if I had one concern, it's his movement. So how come I can look at Anthony Hill and be like, hey, man, they both do similar things in the run game, but Hill just move much better.
Yeah.
Hill can move.
Right.
He can fly, Bryan.
Yeah.
C.J. Allen can't fly. And sometimes C.J. Allen's seeing it.
I think he moves well, but the flying part of it, I think you're absolutely right on.
C.J. Allen sees it, and sometimes him seeing it can mitigate the movement or the lack of movement.
Yeah.
I'd rather take the guy that can see it and can fly and run around and has length. Yeah. So if I had to develop a guy into a dude that can work in coverage, because we had this conversation last week.
We did.
Man, I'm taking Anthony Hill and going, all right, big fella, what don't you understand? Well, you look good dropping in your coverages. Oh, you just don't know where to go?
Yeah.
Let me show you where to go. C.J. Allen can know where to go, but if he ain't athletic enough to get there quickly, I think that's what's going to separate those.
If you read my notes, you would say that you like Hill better. You would, if you read my notes. And I think when you go through and read, like when I read the line, will need work as a blitzer.
Sure.
As I'm telling you that Hill, I just said it, Hill can blitz.
Yeah.
The questions you're going to have about both these guys are going to be the cover stuff.
Yeah.
But who do you feel better?
Hill
dealing with the twitchy. The Hill with the
tight ends, anything.
You're not. I don't think you're wrong about this one.
Yeah.
I really don't think you're wrong about this one. And when you sit down and really compare the two, I could see fighting for C.J. Allen in this thing. But I could also see the people that are telling me, damn, Broaddus, you need to look at Hill at 20. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
But when you really sit down and compare your notes, Hill reads as a better player than Allen.
I think that's what draft is, Bryan.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not counting Reese because he's a different type of dude. But everybody's top linebackers that they're talking about is Sonny Styles and C.J. Allen.
Yeah.
So I watch Hill. I kind of wish C.J. Styles was a little more Sonny Styles. I wish he was a little more physical.
Yeah.
I wish he was a little more physical down there in the trenches.
Yeah.
He's probably the better athlete of them.
He's the guy that could play the cover and
I
stuff.
know he can cover.
Yeah, because former safety has a little bit of a history of this.
And maybe in the league now, coverage ability is a little more important. Maybe right now.
I don't disagree with you on that.
But man, I look at Anthony Hill versus Allen and go, man,
you've made a really convincing argument about that.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah, because you do. If you read, and I know just going through and you ask me the question, why?
Yeah.
And you know what? I don't have a great answer for you.
Especially at a position that I want you to run. I want you to run fast.
Yeah. Especially a position, though, that you need that if you're the Dallas Cowboys,
for sure,
you need help. Now, if you're a fan of another team, we think that both these linebackers could play.
I like them both.
But if you look specifically for the Dallas Cowboys,
I'll go Hill.
Yeah, you think about Hill. Absolutely, you would think about Hill.
Man, good talk. Bryan, tell me about Caleb Lomu, the left tackle from Utah.
Well, you're throwing all these offensive tackles at me today, aren't you?
Well, Bryan, got to do what we got to do. You know what I'm saying? we're a all 32 draft program.
We are an all
Cowboys first.
No, hey, we're wearing the gear today.
We're gonna talk about some edges, linebackers, and tackles up here.
Yeah, Caleb Lomu from Utah. He is the starter at left tackle for the Utes. This guy's 6'6", 304. Measurements we're working with right now could possibly change. By the way, you know the 304. You know what that does to me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
And you coach the position, and so am I wrong about that?
I'm not a fan of small offensive linemen.
Thank you.
At all.
Thank you for being a young man with good thought.
There you go.
Starter at left tackle for the Utes. Big time athlete. His movement skills is really impressive. He's light, quick footed. He's got balance for the position. He's got the range. Voch was telling you about the range. That's important nowadays. And, you get these wide rushers. You've got to be able to kick to them and get to them. And his guy he knows how to kick wide, to cut off a defender. He knows how to widen the corner when he faces those kinds of rushers. We see those 7 techniques, 9 techniques, folks. Those are the guys that are playing really wide. When you watch the Miami Hurricanes play on the national championship game, you're going to see Bain and Mesidor, those guys. They're going to play very, very wide. That's a 9 technique is what you're looking at right there. And so, but he can move, he can reset, he puts himself in position. There's snaps where he gets a little top heavy, and you will see him kind of lean out over his feet. He does lack some sustain when engaged at times. It might be a little bit of a lack of some power there with him. Mm-hmm. But he does have the lateral slide and adjust. I mentioned that. He will show that Voch, help me here. I think he's got some Tyler Guyton elements to his game. Mm-hmm. And because he's like a really, really good athlete, good foot athlete, but will kind of get in some wild positions and probably not the strongest guy.
Leaning.
He's a much better angle and down blocker than he is a drive him off the ball guy. His hands will miss. When I say miss, they get a little wide. They'll get outside the framework. And that kind of affects the way that he controls the block. But he does show he's a better athlete at time than the guy that he's playing against with, he's that kind of guy. He's just a really good athlete. He's one of those tackles, I've mentioned this 1,000 times. If you follow me, you know this. I struggle with the lack of power, but end up playing in the league for a number of years. I have a feeling this is probably one of those guys too. You're probably not going to love the strength, but what you're going to love is the way he plays in space and the way that he is able to eliminate those wide rushers. Caleb Lomu from Utah.
I love everything you said about him, Bryan. Let me ask you a question. Did you happen to take a gander at the Texas Tech game?
I did.
I went on social media the other day, and I was like, hey, man, y'all may want to – I like matchups, you know what I'm saying?
Matchups are good.
That's my thing about Lomu, and, you can have good film, but I look for certain tiebreakers.
Yeah.
Certain tiebreakers I like to look for. And Lomu beats the hell out of a lot of people, Bryan.
He does.
But when you think about some of those teams, you go, all right, that dude ain't playing football in the league. That guy ain't going pro.
It's like me when I was watching Josh Allen and I was saying he was throwing to cattle ranchers.
Pharmacists.
Accountants.
Mortgage loan processors. You know what I'm saying? Lomu beating the hell out the Voch Lombardis of the world. You know what I'm saying? But Bryan, when I'm picking what games to watch, I always find the
You found you one.
I find the pro competition that you went up against. Yeah. Now, if you look at what the right tackle did versus David Bailey, you go, all right, right tackle, you deserve to be in this conversation. You just had a solid game versus NFL top 10 talent. Bryan.
I know, right?
I know.
Yeah.
Bryan, Melo Hype beat the shit out of Caleb Lomu. It wasn't pretty.
Yeah.
It wasn't pretty. It was Lomu's worst game by a long shot.
Sure was.
And he looked real good versus them other cats that don't bend as well, Brian.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He looked real good versus them other cats that's not going to be in the league.
Right.
If this was college, you've been taking tests all year, but this test is 70% of your grade, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And if you lost to Melo Height, but you had some good plays too, I'd be like, all right, I feel you.
It's a draw.
I'll take a, you know what I'm saying?
Take a draw, yeah.
I'll take a 60-40 split. You lost 40%. That's fine. That's Melo Height, man. Yeah. Melo beat the shit out of Lomu, Brian.
Yeah.
So me looking at him, I can only assume that if you go against top tier competition,
it's gonna be a problem.
It's gonna be a problem.
Yeah.
I would love to see a guy like this in the Senior Bowl, Brian.
Yeah.
Because I would love to know what you look like versus better dudes.
Sure.
And that's gonna be like the tiebreaker for me.
Yeah.
At least when I'm watching Jennings Dunker, I can watch him versus the Oregon kids.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The kids that went back to school, Matelling and
yeah.
At least he had some good days versus them. I don't know his name.
Yeah.
Caden Proctor.
Yeah.
You can say what you want about Caden Proctor.
Yeah.
He got good film versus R. Mason Thomas. He got good film versus Cassius Howell.
Yeah.
I can do tiebreakers there. Noah, he in the playoffs doing his thing.
Yeah.
Lomu had one shot to prove himself versus Melo Height. Melo Height ain't even a top 10 pick like Bailey is. Yeah. And he broke him down the whole game, Brian. So, man, some team gonna like Lomu because of the athleticism. I particularly don't like players that are small and not powerful.
Yeah.
If you small but you got some power, think about Marcus Bowe last year, Brian.
Yeah.
Like Purdue or something. Purdue. He goes to school. Marcus Bowe was 296.
Yeah.
He was a phenomenal technician, phenomenal movement, and he had some anchor on him. I can live with you if you small and you strong. Yeah. But if you small and you get pushed around and you get a little high sometimes and you leaning, I ain't saying Lomu bad, but he gonna have to go to Duke Manyweather for a couple years before I trust him a little bit, Brian. I got a 3 on him. Yeah. I take this seriously. You might have a 2 on him.
Yeah.
Give me your Cowboy grade as far as 2 goes.
128.
So he's at the end of the 2?
I you know what? As we sit here and talk, you know my phobia with this stuff.
The small guys, yeah.
The small guys.
Because those are the dudes that go to the league do great.
I'm thinking, you know me, I'd shove him in the 4th round if it was me.
Yeah.
I should. I'm a coward when it comes to that. You know why? I've been beaten up so many times over these guys.
Yeah.
And I don't learn.
Yeah.
I don't learn. I mean, this guy's going to come in the league and he's probably going to be, it's not going to be pretty against the guys that you're talking about. You know, these edge rushers and stuff.
Yeah.
But I have gotten my ass kicked by guys like this.
Yeah.
You know? I just, you know, David Bakhtiari.
Sure.
Colton Miller. Give me every one of those son of a guns that lined up that were just, you know, that were just light and had no power and shit. I'm like, well, how's this guy going to play in the league?
Yeah. Brian, I tell you what, though. For every Brian O'Neill.
Oh, I know.
Is 9.
Garrett Bowles.
Sure.
Garrett
Bowles. He's another one.
Garrett Bowles was, I think, out of Utah way back in the day. And Garrett Bowles was like, and now he's like an all-pro tackle. And I'm like going, great. Garrett Bowles. Another one. Just throw him into the mix of like every one of these light offensive tackles that I hated.
Yeah.
Because sports hate.
Sure.
I don't like lack of power.
Me neither.
And it bothers me when I don't see power.
Yeah.
Especially in offensive line.
Yeah. So this is how I look at it. I'd be like, I don't think he's a bad player.
No.
But if I was a GM, I'm drafting him in the 3rd round because I'm trying to build my team a different way. Yeah. That's how I look at it.
Did you have Dunker, we just talked about, from Iowa?
I got a 2 on Dunker.
So you got Dunker higher than this
Lomu.
guy.
Yep. Higher than Lomu.
Which do you think is the biggest flaw that you can live with then?
I can live with
lack of power or lack of athletic ability.
I can live with,
and I'm calling it a lack of athletic ability.
You ain't wrong. I can live with the lack of athletic ability.
Okay.
I can live with that because it's things I can do to mitigate that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you ain't
Moving
strong,
the guard.
I can put your ass right at guard and we'll be just fine. I got a nice ass guard, Brian.
Yeah.
And he just doesn't, and Dunker doesn't have length, so that makes it a little different.
Yeah.
I think Proctor's a great example of he don't have the athletic ability, but he's strong.
See, I got Proctor a lot higher.
I got a high 2 on Proctor.
Yeah,
I got a high 2 on Proctor.
That would be to me. Proctor's that 120, 121 range, whereas
early 2.
Whereas Lomu is like at the bottom, like almost. I got to acknowledge the fact that the guy is a really good athlete.
Yep.
But he's going to kill me because I don't see the power.
Davian Clown are going to run down the middle of it.
Yeah.
Good show, Bryan Broaddus. I appreciate you chatting.
Solve
with
the
me.
world problems. The thing today, though,
Yeah.
I think the thing that I learned today from our show was the argument about Hill and Allen.
That's going to be a long conversation for a lot of people. And I think people in the comments are going to have a lot to say because I know that both sides kind of have their fan bases about it or their like preferred.
One guy is bigger.
One guy's sure. Yeah. But and even if you look at C.J. Allen and think he's the bigger, thicker guy, and look at Hill's measurables. Hill measurable. He measures better.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, Brian?
I learned that today. I learned that when you go through and you just check your notes, read your notes, and one clearly sounds better than the other.
That's
and
why
I think you made a fascinating argument for Hill today. Yep. And if you're talking about taking linebacker at 20, if you're a Dallas Cowboy fans, I think Voch has convinced me that you should absolutely consider Hill for that 20 spot if that's the case.
Yep, 100%, Mr. Broaddus. We'll talk about even more players. Me and Brian are gonna be prepping for Senior Bowl next week.
Yeah.
So if you've noticed that we've pivoted away from top 50 players and started talking about some guys in the 70s and 80s relatively, because we're trying to get ready for the and look, these are guys that we're gonna talk about anyway.
Yeah.
We're just gonna talk about them.
Talking about a little earlier.
We're gonna get to them because the Senior Bowl is gonna be topical, and you guys are gonna be asking about those guys, and then we'll go back to Kenyon Sadiq and break him down and give him a proper evaluation. We gonna get to 230 some people.
Yeah.
We gonna
Hopefully
watch. I
make sure I get Puka Nacua done. Then
we gonna miss Puka. We gonna miss Puka.
I missed him. It kills me every time I see Puka Nacua out there. I think about evaluating 230 players and not doing Puka Nacua.
Reddy Stewart, I missed him.
Yeah.
Weezy Bridges, where'd he come from? We didn't watch all these people. We love y'all to pieces. Okay. We'll do a Q&A tomorrow. We'll do a Q&A tomorrow.
Yeah. I got some stuff for you.
I'll put the bat signal out. Brian's going to have some questions. I have some questions, and we'll do that tomorrow. Then Friday, we're going to get to the work. I'll give you your work on Thursday. What I really want us to do is have an extended conversation about Anthony Hill, the linebacker from Texas, versus C.J. Allen, the linebacker from Georgia, in the comment section and in the chat box. I'll be looking. Brian will be in there looking. I just want to see what y'all got to say, and we may come here tomorrow and kind of recap what some people have been saying in the chat. So if you want to shout out, go in there and talk about which linebacker you like the most, and we'll talk about it. Crown Globe Media on that's the website, crownglobemedia.com. Everything is up there. All the links are there. The merch is up there. Get you one of them tumblers.
Yeah.
We got Scout Sci up there, the stack up there. Hold us down. We appreciate y'all for doing such. That's Crown Globe Media on Twitter.
Yeah.
Until Bryan Broaddus gets fixed, and I'm Voch Lombardi. Y'all hold down. We'll catch y'all next time. Peace. Crown.